Love is composed of a single soul inhabiting two bodies.
We hear these words and they feel timeless, but in truth, love is one of the most misunderstood forces in human life. When people ask, "How does a woman fall in love?" they often expect a list of tricks, steps, or psychological tactics. Yet the Stoic perspective does not look at love as a game of manipulation or strategy. Instead, it sees love as a natural unfolding of human character, a union of reason and emotion, a recognition of value. To understand how a woman falls in love, you must first understand what love really is, and how the human soul recognizes something worthy of its devotion. The Stoics taught that all human emotions, including love, are not random. They emerge from judgments. When someone feels anger, it is because they have judged that they were wrong. When someone feels joy, it is because they judged something as good. Love is no different. A woman does not fall in love merely because of external beauty, wealth, or charm. She falls in love when she judges, whether consciously or unconsciously, that the presence of another human being is aligned with her deepest values, her security, her growth, and her sense of harmony with the world. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, constantly reminded himself that everything in life is fleeting, fragile, and temporary. If we apply this thought to love, we realize something profound. Love cannot be reduced to temporary thrills or shallow infatuation. A woman may be attracted by such things at first, but love, real love, endures only when the man she meets embodies strength, constancy, and self-control. In other words, she falls in love not with the mask a man wears but with the harmony she perceives between his actions and his principles. This is why the Stoics emphasized character above all else. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." A woman falls in love not with empty words, but with a man who has determined the kind of person he wants to be and lives it consistently. When a woman sees that a man is not swayed by every storm of life, not enslaved by every impulse, not desperate for validation, she recognizes in him a strength that makes her feel safe. And from this safety, love can take root. But let us look closer at the stages of love through Stoic eyes. At first, attraction arises. The Stoics would not deny that appearances matter. After all, beauty is often the door through which interest enters. Yet attraction alone is nothing stable. Beauty fades, circumstances change, and what dazzles the senses one moment may become ordinary the next. So, if love were only built on surface attraction, it would collapse as quickly as it came. What holds a woman's love is something deeper, the recognition of virtue. Virtue to the Stoics is the highest good. It means wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. When a man acts with justice, he respects her as an equal soul. When he acts with courage, he faces challenges instead of running away from them. When he acts with wisdom, he understands when to speak, when to listen, when to act, and when to remain still. And when he acts with temperance, he shows that he is not enslaved to desire but is master of himself. These qualities inspire trust, admiration, and respect. Without respect, no love can survive. With respect, attraction deepens into devotion. The Stoic approach teaches that no one can control the heart of another person. A woman's love cannot be forced, nor can it be stolen. It can only be invited by being a man of true character. If a man spends his life chasing validation, trying to impress with shallow tricks, he may capture fleeting attention but not enduring love. A woman falls in love when she sees a man who does not need her in order to feel whole, but who chooses her freely from a place of strength. This choice, rooted in freedom rather than neediness, creates the soil where love grows. Consider also the role of presence. Seneca once wrote, "We are always complaining that our days are few, and acting as though there would be no end of them." A Stoic man values the present moment, and when he is with a woman, he truly is with her. Not lost in distractions, not enslaved by his own ego, but attentive, grounded, present. Women notice this. They feel it. A man's ability to be calm, attentive, and steady in a world full of noise becomes irresistible. She falls in love not with his words alone, but with how she feels in his presence, secure, valued, and at peace. And yet, the Stoics also warned against illusions. A woman may believe she is in love when, in fact, she is swept away by passion, by the intoxication of novelty. Real love, from the Stoic view, is not merely the flutter of the heart or the thrill of infatuation. Those are passing impressions. Real love reveals itself in trials, in silence, in the ability to remain steadfast when challenges arrive. A woman realizes she has fallen in love not when everything is easy, but when difficulties arise and she sees that the bond is not fragile. When she watches a man hold his ground with dignity, she feels that her heart can rest in him. We often think of love as something sudden, like a spark. But in truth, Stoicism teaches that deep love is slow burning. It is cultivated like a garden. A woman may notice a man's charm at first, but she falls in love when she notices consistency, the way he treats others, the way he responds to adversity, the way he stands by his principles even when it is inconvenient. Every repeated action becomes proof of his character, and every proof deepens her trust. Slowly, admiration turns to affection, affection turns to desire, and desire turns into love. But let us not forget, Stoicism is not blind to passion. Passion itself is not condemned, but only passion without reason. A woman may feel passion quickly, but she falls in love when passion is balanced with clarity. She admires the man who can feel deeply but is not consumed by his feelings. She sees in him both fire and control, and that combination awakens in her the deepest respect. Love is not about losing oneself, but about recognizing oneself in another. A Stoic man allows her to see herself reflected in his strength, and this recognition becomes the bridge to love. Epictetus advised, "When you are delighted with anything, be delighted as with a thing which is not one of those which cannot be taken away." Love, from this view, is never about possession. A woman does not fall in love because a man seeks to own her or control her. On the contrary, she falls in love when she feels that her freedom is respected. When a man honors her individuality, when he does not suffocate her spirit but encourages her growth, she experiences love not as a prison but as a partnership. She falls in love with a man who treats her not as an object to be kept but as a soul to be cherished. What makes this even more powerful is that a Stoic man does not demand love in return. He gives his presence, his integrity, his strength, without clinging. This non-attachment paradoxically makes him even more magnetic. For nothing repels love more than desperation, and nothing attracts it more than freedom. A woman falls in love when she sees that a man is complete in himself, yet still chooses to walk beside her. She feels honored, not trapped. She feels uplifted, not burdened. And this feeling turns affection into devotion. Of course, not every woman will fall in love with Stoic strength. Some may prefer drama, chaos, or fleeting thrills. But the Stoics remind us that the goal is not to win everyone's heart, but to live in harmony with virtue. When a man lives by his principles, he will attract the kind of love that is worthy of him. A woman of depth, of clarity, of true spirit will fall in love with what she sees, not perfection, but authenticity, not bravado, but inner calm. So how does a woman fall in love? She falls in love slowly, through the steady accumulation of moments where she feels safe, valued, and inspired. She falls in love when she sees that her heart is not being played with, but protected. She falls in love when admiration grows into trust, when respect becomes intimacy, when passion is tempered by wisdom. And most of all, she falls in love when she realizes that the man she is with does not simply entertain her, but elevates her. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This is perhaps the clearest answer to the question. If you ask, how does a woman fall in love? The answer is not found in tricks or techniques, but in being a good man. When you live with virtue, with reason, with calm, with integrity, you create the conditions where love is possible. A woman falls in love not with a mask, not with illusions, but with the reality of a man who embodies strength without arrogance, wisdom without coldness, and passion without chaos. And if we turn inward, we realize something even more profound. Stoicism reminds us that love, like all things, is not fully in our control. You can live with virtue, you can embody strength, but whether another soul chooses to love you is beyond your power. This is why the Stoics taught acceptance. You may inspire love, but you cannot demand it. And yet, by becoming the best version of yourself, you open the door. If she walks through it, love is born. If she does not, you remain whole. In this way, love from the Stoic view is not desperation but harmony. It is not chasing but allowing. It is not about conquest but connection. And when a woman falls in love in this way, it is not because she was tricked or persuaded, but because her soul recognized in another soul a mirror of what it longs for: strength, wisdom, freedom, and peace. So, the real secret to how a woman falls in love is this: she falls in love with the man who needs nothing from her, but chooses her, the man who stands firm in the storms of life, the man who elevates her spirit rather than consuming it, the man who lives with integrity and calm. She falls in love with virtue disguised as a human being. And when she does, it is not just her heart that belongs to him, but her trust, her admiration, and her loyalty. That is the Stoic perspective. Love is not manipulation. Love is recognition. Love is virtue seen and cherished. And a woman falls in love not when a man plays with her feelings, but when he shows her a steady flame that will not be extinguished by time.